That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, this is going to be the last video of the week. I'll bring it up. Then next week, I will keep y'all updated. But for anybody who has not seen our videos today, I want to give y'all the latest scoop on how we are doing in our leagues. We are playing in 15 fantasy football leagues in 2020 with a minimum buy-in of $60. They're anywhere from $60 to $200. I'm deciding to use this price point of leagues to give y'all our accurate sample size because I feel like if the league is $60, you know that the people in the league are paying attention. They're making trades, they're doing waiver wire moves, and on top of that, they are starting their lineups. I'm not going to give y'all my stats on a $30 league just because you always know in a league that the buy-in is so small, really you're going to have 2 or 3 owners that are not paying attention. So really those leagues are not worth anything. I know if y'all played in a free league before, you can vouch for that. Anyway, here, out of those 15 leagues with the minimum buy-in of $60, we are currently in the playoffs of 12 of those 15, and all of these leagues are anywhere from 12 to 16-man leagues. So if you're good at math, you realize, wait, Mason, I'm assuming that you're only supposed to be in the leagues in about 7 of the playoffs out of those leagues. Yeah, here we are running way over expectation. Also, in all of these leagues, the top 2 seeds get a bye in the first round of the fantasy football playoffs. And here, out of the 15, we have qualified for a bye in 7 of the leagues. So also running way over expectation here, as well as 2019, 2018, 2017, 2020 has been a fantastic success so far. But here we have to make sure that we are going through, doing the work in our start-sit decisions, and also making those moves on the waiver wire. So in this video, let's talk about 5 running backs that I think you need to be benching in week 14 for their matchup, their usage, regardless the reason. We are going to get into it. Okay, so let's start it off with our first running back in a very tough matchup. This is going to be David Johnson. Okay, so guys, I understand I just went out there and told y'all to pick up David Johnson from your waiver wire. Yes, I am also going to be telling you to not start him against the Chicago Bears. Very similar to a Kiki QT in the last video. Really, this is not going to be the matchup to play any Houston Texans players outside of a Brandon Cooks or maybe even a Deshaun Watson, because here with David Johnson, we realize at this point in his NFL career, he is not the same running back he was in Arizona. He is not the guy that is getting 6 to 8 targets out of the backfield every single week. This past week, he actually did not see a single reception, with Duke Johnson coming down with 6 receptions. We are clearly viewing David Johnson as a first and second down grinder running back, so that is going to relegate him to being a touchdown or bust running back, where really you are only wanting to play him in a matchup where we're going to be able to expect the Houston Texans to put up a significant amount of points and as well get some usage at the goal line, because if that's not going to happen for David Johnson, his floor is so low. I mean, look at what he did this past week against the Indianapolis Colts. 10 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Now, yes, this does not kill you in fantasy football, getting 10 points in your starting lineup. But here, I think that we just have to acknowledge the fact that if he did not find the end zone, something that is extremely volatile week to week, David Johnson would be walking away with about 4 or 5 fantasy points, something that you cannot afford in the fantasy football playoffs, because I promise you, I don't care if they're your running back 1, running back 2, if they are dropping 4 points this upcoming week, you are going to lose. You are going to be bounced from the playoffs. Please avoid a David Johnson. Okay, now let's get to our next running back in a very similar boat, in my opinion, Melvin Gordon. Okay, so now I know a lot of people are going to be asking me about starting Melvin Gordon this upcoming week, because on paper, it is a great matchup against the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have had one of the worst run defenses in the entire NFL in 2020, and Melvin Gordon is coming off a performance where he saw almost 150 total yards. So here, I'm sure y'all are wondering, Mason, why the hell are you telling us to not start him? And very similar to a situation like a David Johnson, here with Melvin Gordon, he is not getting enough touches out of his backfield to be a reliable running back every single week. I mean, he got out-touched by Phillip Lindsay in back-to-back weeks. If he did not get out-touched, I mean, they were neck and neck. They're essentially splitting this backfield 50-50, and Melvin Gordon is not getting targeted out of the backfield. Only 1 reception this past week, but even if you zoom out and you look at the past 4 weeks that Melvin Gordon has been active, really, he has not gotten anything. I mean, it is a night and day difference with Philip Lindsay active in this offense or inactive. And here, when Lindsay is going to be good to go, I think that we have to make sure, regardless of the matchup, Melvin Gordon is on our bench. I am viewing him as someone that really the only way we want to get him in that starting lineup is if we have a Philip Lindsay injury and if we can project 75% of the backfield for Melvin Gordon. Okay, now let's get to our next running back. And this is going to be a running back that I am telling you to not start for the rest of 2020. This is going to be Todd Gurley. Now, I know not many people are probably considering starting Todd Gurley against the Los Angeles Chargers. I mainly just want to bring him up so I can brag about telling y'all to sell him high. I don't know how many times. Guys, this is why you do not rely on a running back that's a first and second down grinder that is only seeing value in terms of his goal line usage, in terms of only getting touchdowns. Whenever you're relying on that touchdown or bust player, very similar to what we were seeing with a David Johnson right now in fantasy, that is going to be a recipe for disaster. I mean, because with a player like Todd Gurley, if he is not going to be seeing 4 receptions out of the backfield any given week, really, he needs that touchdown just to be viable, just to be that running back too. Whereas if you're looking at someone that is going to have, say, 60 rushing yards, then have 30 receiving yards, and on top of that, maybe 3 receptions, they have a floor of a running back too. And if they get that volatile touchdown, that's when you vault up to get that running back 1 performance. This is more of a discussion about really the prototype of running backs that we are chasing. We are not chasing the running back that looks like a Todd Gurley, that's not getting that receiving game usage, that is relying on touchdowns, because in the long haul, that is going to be a losing bet. And here with Todd Gurley, I think that it's coming to get him. Obviously, he has the knee that's bothering him. Another reason I wanted to sell him high earlier this season. But here with Todd Gurley, not someone that I'm considering starting anytime soon. Okay, now let's get to our next running back, someone that falls in the same boat, a Kenyan Drake. Okay, with Kenyan Drake, I know he's actually run pretty hot the past few weeks, seeing those touchdowns at the goal line, scored yet again in week 13, but like I just got done talking about, that is not something that we are wanting to rely on in fantasy football. And this upcoming week, he has a very tough matchup against the New York Giants. Now, I know you don't hear the New York Giants and automatically think of a very strong defense, but personally, that is what comes to my thought. I mean, with the New York Giants, they have been successful in shutting down team after team after team, or at least limiting what they're able to do on the offensive side of the ball. We just saw this past week with one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL in a Russell Wilson. So with Kenyan Drake coming off a performance where he saw only 10 carries, 58 total yards, and a touchdown, this is just not the profile of a running back that I want in my starting lineup when the matchup is going to be tough. I would much prefer to start a Kenyan Drake maybe against a team like the Green Bay Packers when we know that they are going to have a soft run defense and he should be able to take advantage. Okay, so let's get to our last running back, someone that I told y'all to sell a few weeks ago, someone that I told y'all to not be starting the past few weeks, Raheem Mostert. Okay, guys, with Mostert, I mean, this goes right back into that Todd Gurley conversation. I know this has been a very boring video of me just lecturing about the difference between reliable receiving game usage and volatile touchdown usage. I mean, here with Raheem Mostert, coming off a performance where he saw 9 carries, 43 total yards, and 1 touchdown with no receptions. I mean, this is a profile of a running back that is a low floor, low ceiling option. And also, he's going up against the Washington football team this week, which may not necessarily have the strongest run defense in the entire NFL, but they are definitely above average, and they just completely shut down the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have all the momentum in the world right now. And with Raheem Mostert, I've said this time and time again, until we see George Kittle, until we see Jimmy Garoppolo come back into this offense, I really don't want to be relying on any running back in that backfield, as George Kittle is not only a pivotal piece for this team to move the chains, for this team to pick up first downs through the air. We know that's going to increase the overall production for the offense, specifically for the running backs who are going to be able to end up with more carries. But on top of that, we know that with George Kittle, he's also an elite blocking tight end where he's able to drastically increase the run efficiency for the San Francisco 49ers offense. I mean, if you take away the quarterback position and we were just talking about a separate position on the football field, honestly, I think there are very few players that make the kind of impact for their offenses as a George Kittle. I mean, I don't know if I would have any other wide receiver, any other tight end over George Kittle if I was just quote unquote building my own NFL team. I mean, he means so much to that San Francisco 49ers offense that I really do not want to be playing Raheem Mostert until we get George Kittle back. As in, with Mostert, you were relying on running efficiency, you were relying on touchdown volume, which I just don't think will be there without a George Kittle. Okay. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope you got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I hope I'll see you on the live stream on either Friday night, Saturday night, or Sunday morning.